Hi, and welcome to the show. This is Books with Ken, and I'm your host for today, Tiffany Magner. On today's show, we have Rabbi Aaron Raskin, the author of Thank You, God, for Making Me a Woman. So welcome to the show today, Rabbi.
Thank you, Tiffany, for inviting me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. So tell me a little bit about the book. Tell me, why did you write the book?
Well, I'll tell you why I wrote the book. At the very beginning of my tenure, being that I'm an Orthodox Hasidic rabbi, in our synagogue, the men and the women pray separately. And a young woman came over to me after services and said, Rabbi, I'm a smart woman and I have a great voice. And even though I love the services here today, and I thought the sermon was great, that's a plug for me, but at the same time, I also feel that as a woman, I want to participate. So how come I cannot be part of the service? And furthermore, she said, there's a blessing in the Siddur, which is the Jewish prayer book, that says, thank you, God, for not making me a woman. And Rabbi, she said, that sounds terrible. How could you say, thank you, God, for not making me a woman? And I said, I know there are answers to these questions, but I don't want to answer you right away to give you the basic answer. I want to think about it and get back to you. So 25 years later, I'm coming back to her.
Okay, wonderful. So I am assuming then the book goes through the reasons.
Yeah, we talk about these questions, but more than that, I try to introduce the basic philosophy of how Judaism looks at women. And we find throughout the Torah, throughout the Bible, that when it came to anything important and anything which was good and holy, women were first. For example, when God gave the Torah, the Ten Commandments, to the people of Israel, it says there, he first spoke to the women, then he spoke to the men. And when it came to the building of the sanctuary, the Mishkan in the desert, here too the women first gave of their charity, and then the men came afterwards. In the very beginning of the Bible, when you talk about Abraham and Sarah, over there already it says that God tells Abraham, whatever your wife Sarah tells you to do, you shall listen. And this is a lesson for all men, that they should listen to their wives, what they tell you. So really there are many, many proofs from the Bible that women were first and women should be listened to, etc., etc. And I take this premise and I try to answer these individual questions.
Wow, that's very interesting. So I'm sure it's going to really strike a chord with women and men as it comes out and so forth. Tell me a little bit about what are the biggest takeaways you want somebody to take with after reading this book?
So firstly, at the end of the book, I summarize it by saying that to take the role of the woman and put it into one word, the word would be the word Eve. Eve in Hebrew is Chava. Chava was the first woman that God created. And it's interesting that the word Chava means to tell, to reveal. In other words, the job and the role of a woman is to reveal the potential in their spouse, the potential in their colleagues, the potential in their students, and more importantly, the potential in the world. Because God created the world ex nihilo, and every part of the world has the DNA of God, but most of us don't see that. And women were given that greater level of intuition, of understanding, to be able to reveal and extrapolate that godliness and that holiness and that purpose in every detail of creation. And that's why the gematria, which is the numerical computation of the Hebrew letters of the word Chava, equals 19, which is the same as the filler letters of God's name. To understand that detail, you got to look into the book. But the bottom line is that the name Chava is really an extension of the name of God.
Wow, so you touched on something that was interesting to me. You said women are given maybe a greater sense of intuition. And I guess that's probably where the phrase has come from, the women's intuition,
This is clearly in the Talmud, and I bring this statement down numerous times in the book. It says in the Talmud, Bina yitera nitna li'isha. God gave a greater level of intuition or understanding to women over men. And biologically, there's an example that Kabbalah gives, and that is that the man emits the seed, the seminal drop. In that seminal drop, you have the potential of the entire child, but when you look at the drop, you don't see it. The woman takes the drop and develops it for 9 months, and she creates a viable, healthy, living baby. So the truth is that this is not only when we talk about children or life, but in every detail of creation, women have that gift to be able to develop and elaborate and reveal that hidden potential.
Wow, that's beautiful. I really look forward to reading this when it comes out. I want to thank you so much today for being on our show with us, Rabbi Aaron Raskin, and again, look for his copy of Thank You, God, for Making Me a Woman.